I have a battle buddy who's having issues with differentiating between alpha and beta and expected returns. The test questions specifically trip her up. How to identify which formula to use? I think in its simple formation, what is beta? Beta is a measurement of the volatility of investment as compared to the market, right? So if I have a beta 1.5 and the market goes up 10, I would expect a 15% return because I should be rewarded for the volatility. Lady Brill, if I get 13, I'm chatting that up with Brian, right? Beta's 1.5, market's 10. He goes, well, Dean, I don't know why you're chatting up 13. I go, what do you mean? I got 13, market did 10. He goes, well, Dean, I have an expectation I would at least get the beta without taking any other additional risk. You underperform. Now, if I call him and say 17%, the 17, we're expecting 15, that would be the alpha. The alpha is the excess return over beta. What is alpha? Excess return over beta. The expected return, more often than not, I'm not going to get into the capital asset pricing model, God knows, but the expected return in the example I just gave you was 15%. Your thoughts, Brian?
This question came up at the absolute best perfect time after we were just talking about the 66, right? This might be the 65, 66, it doesn't matter, right? The textbooks are basically telling people you got to know all these math formulas. I'll tell you what, the first thing you got to know about those three things, what the hell are they?
Why are you doing the math?
Know the definition.
Why would you do that? Yeah.
Right? And again, I know on the Series 65, there's a relatively easy alpha calculation, a little easy beta, but there's no formulas as far as I'm concerned. It's just knowing what they are and how to manipulate the numbers. And I do that.
When you do encounter them too, I think, Brian, it's more straightforward than the test prep vendors make it.
Oh God, my God!
I showed up on
books. They're pulling their hair out over all these textbook calculations. It's just it.
I showed up in a tutoring session with this guy, Brian, and he said, Dean, I'm not paying you $225 an hour to do math with me because I'm a serious math geek. I can do math. I don't need to memorize any formulas. You give me any two numbers, I can solve for the third. I said, wonderful, And then when he passed, he called me and goes, Dean, I really kind of did myself a disservice because I didn't spend any time just recognizing input. If I got asked it, he said he got questions where if we did ask you to do it, how would you, or what are the inputs? And he said, I was able to reverse engineer it, but I wish I would have just done a little more work on recognition of the formula. Your point, Brian, why I'm using it,
right.
And most of the stuff, Lady Brill, I think it's way more likely. And I tell people this too, Brian, I would be interested to see if you concur that when it is math, more often than not, it's going to be balance sheet calculations, current ratio, asset test ratio, working capital, debt to total capital, PE ratio, dividend payout ratio, more than it's going to be alphas and betas and capital asset pricing models and Sharpe ratios and duration. All those are mainly recognition glossary terms like duration's volatility, Sharpe ratio, higher Sharpe ratio is better than lower. Your thoughts, Brian?
I talked to a gentleman just an hour and a half before the live stream started. And he got a 69 on the test. He says, man, I was so good. I'm good at numbers. I was really waiting for those. And I only got one.
Yeah.
He says, the test was predominantly definitions. And I go, I know. I scream that from the rooftop to as many people as I can. But, but the textbooks, they lead them down that road, right?